Hey, what is up guys? It's your boy Speed here, and today we're going to be going over 5 heroes you guys should be trying in 7.33D. Most of these heroes were either buffed or ignored in the recent patch, and the reason why I say buffed, or more specifically ignored, is because of the fact that honestly this most recent 7.33D patch was mostly nerfs. Honestly, 80% of the hero changes were nerfs, and a lot of the buffs weren't that significant. However, there was a few standout heroes that really received major buffs, making the heroes potentially broken, and so let's talk about it. Alright, but quickly, no, this is not a Game Leap advertisement. We're gonna do a guess the rank again. A lot of the comments, a lot of you guys, like really the comments have been crazy positive, and a lot of you guys have been saying, hey, you want guess the rank back, and I agree, it's been a while, so I really want to put a lot of effort into the next guess the rank video. I'm gonna make it a pretty damn long video, because some of you guys just love it, and I'm gonna really try to like delve into people's replays. I'm gonna be picking 3 people, I'm gonna spend about 10 minutes on each of the people, and then I'm gonna guess their rank. If you don't know what I'm talking about, basically in the past I made these videos where I would look at your replays, you guys would send them in to me, without looking at your rank, I would watch the replay, and then based on your gameplay, based on how I thought you played, I would have to guess your rank. It was a lot of fun, we had a great time, it was also very educational, so it's kind of the best of both worlds. How you're gonna enter is you're gonna comment down below in the comment section of this video, yes, this video, nowhere else, just this video. You're gonna comment the hero you played, the match ID, and timestamps if there are fights you want me to look at. You don't have to do timestamps. The only 2 things you truly need are the hero you played and the match ID. That is it. Subscribe and like the video. Let's get into it. Alright, so the first hero that received major buffs, and I would definitely suggest trying. In fact, recently saw it played out in actually a pretty intense high MMR match, and that was mid Lina, but more specifically mid nuke Lina. So Lina has been out of the meta ever since her removal in 7.33, right? The hero has been nerfed quite a lot. However, it might be back. And the reason why it might be back is the nuke build wasn't really nerfed that hard. Now, to be fair, Lina as a nuker is still nerfed by the fact that she's a worse right clicker from her nerfs back in the day. However, in the most recent 7.33D patch, her Dragon Slave was buffed by 1 second on its cooldown at all levels. This is nice. It's not going to break the hero by any means, but it's definitely nice as this is the ability you're spamming to farm and fight and harass in the laning stage. Then they buffed the Shard, and if you don't know what the Shard is, it's a big part of nuking Lina. Lina gets up to 7 stacks of Fiery Soul. So when you buy your Shard, for every single stack, your spells do an extra 20 damage now. Previous to the patch, it was 15, meaning you get an extra 5 times 7 stacks per nuke, meaning 35 extra damage per nuke. And this might not seem like a big deal, but assuming you're getting off 6, 7, 8 nukes in a team fight, maybe more, right? Of course that's gonna add up, right? That's 35 times 8, which I think is about a 280 extra damage. Right? I mean, that's a lot of damage, guys. That's gonna add up. It's also just gonna be that little bit of extra damage to finish off targets. And finally, and most importantly, her Flame Cloak was buffed. If you don't even know what that is, I don't blame you. Most people probably don't, but that's her Aghanim Scepter. If you don't know what Lina's Ags does, it's completely tailored to nuke Lina. Her Shard and her Ags don't do really anything at all for right-click Lina. They're all for nuke Lina. And what it does is it allows you to fly over things, right? So you get free pathing for 8 seconds, right? The duration is 8 seconds. And then on top of that, during those 8 seconds, you get 35% magic resistance. So you're incredibly tanky, right? You're incredibly tanky. And on top of that, you get 35% spell amp. So this is pretty nuts, right? When you nuke people, every single one of your abilities is better than pure, right? Because heroes tend to have 25% magic resist, you get 35% spell amp, and so essentially you destroy heroes, you absolutely obliterate them. And the great thing about Flame Cloak is it's only 50 mana to activate, which helps you because your hero can have some mana problems, but it's only 50 mana to activate, it's only a 25-second cooldown, and it was buffed from a 6-second duration all the way up to an 8-second duration this patch. That is massive, guys. I cannot stress how important that is, because it really does feel very noticeable when you have that extra bit of time to get that 1 extra nuke out, that 1 extra stun out during the duration of this ability, especially if you have Octarine Core, you certainly will. And on top of that, it just allows you to fly, disengage, and survive with the bonus magic resistance and the free pathing. So I really do believe that this hero as a nuker is strong. What is the build, you may ask? Well, I suggest you play it mid and only mid as it's very level dependent. You go bottle, and then after bottle you go boots, after boots, mana boots. Then from there you're gonna disassemble your mana boots into an Aether Lens, and after that you're gonna go boots of travel. It's very important that afterwards you consider your shard. For some reason certain players do and certain players players don't. I'm looking at Dota 2 Pro Tracker here, and some players buy their shard immediately at minute 15, really prioritizing the extra damage. In fact, the majority do. However, some buy it later on. Some players opt to immediately rush the Ags after the Boots of Travel. Some players decided to just go a Yule's Scepter and a Blink Dagger. There's a lot of different options you can go. However, I definitely believe that the best build on this hero is Aether Lens into Boots of Travel, into Shard, into Ags. That's going to be the most reliable build on the hero. After that, you can go a whole plethora of items. However, I think the most reliable is Blink into E-Blade. The reason why Blink into E-Blade is fantastic is you actually really need the mana from Kaya to sustain the hero. Like, it is actually quite hard to sustain your mana without Kaya, so in fact you can go, honestly, after bots you can go Kaya if you're just like complete free farm, you're just pushing in all the waves. You can delay the Ags a little bit. It's going to hurt your ability to fight, but you can if you just really want to push in waves and farm neutrals, which Lina is great at, of course, especially with bots. You're going to be pushing in side lanes like crazy as you one-shot them, especially with your shard. But then yeah, after that, the E-Blade, and the reason why is Spell Amp is actually additive, and so when you Spell Amp someone and you have your Ags going, you just like one-shot people. Like, no joke, I've seen Lina's one-shot supports with this build after the changes. It's crazy stuff. Like until you really play it, you're not really going to understand what I'm saying, but you have to also keep in mind, at level 10, you have a nuke talent, 3.5 second Dragon Slave cooldown, which is wonderful, right? That's absolutely fantastic for a nuke build. Then you have 150 Light Strike Array damage at level 15, which is obviously great. You have 11% Spell Amp at level 20, great. And then at level 25, you can have Laguna Blade damage is pure, which is great if the enemy team has some magic resistance, right? A pipe or glimmers or whatever. Or you can go Laguna Blade cooldown, which is absolutely wonderful as well, because it's going to pair Laguna Blade cooldown with the same cooldown as your Flame Cloak. So you're going to be able to stack them on top of each other reliably, and that is absolutely fantastic. So there's a lot of synergy, great wave shove, it's a good laner, it's a pretty good tempo, definitely something to try out. The next hero I highly suggest giving a gander is Lycan. Now there's a lot of builds I recommend on Lycan, but let's quickly talk about why this hero is good now. The main reason why it's good is, in my opinion, it was the most buffed hero is 7.33D. The fact that now Shapeshift is 15 seconds less at level 1 is so noticeable. The ability to play fast and just win all the early game fights with Shapeshift is insanely noticeable. You can go so fast all the time. How this hero works, guys, for anyone who's not familiar with Lycan, is Lycan is a hero that isn't a great laner, but when it gets to the mid game and it gets its Helm Dom or whatever item build you go, so I'm going to suggest some item builds that actually aren't Helm of the Dominator, but when you hit your timing, whatever the timing is, you're going to dominate the early fights. Like, there's almost no game where Lycan doesn't pop off in the early fights, and that tends to be how it works. Why, you may ask? Well, Shapeshift is just a stupid ability. It gives you health, maximum movement speed, can't be slowed, it lets you crit 40% of the time, and it makes your wolves crit 40% of the time and move faster, and they can't be slowed. Howl is an incredibly good ability even at level 1 as a value point, reducing armor by 4 and damage by 25%. The hero just is insane early on. On top of that, Lycan is a universal hero, and so there's a lot of different builds that people have been trying. Most notably is the Harpoon build that has seen some rise in popularity. What people do is about what you would expect, but there's some variation I'd like to talk about. First things first, players will go Bracer because it's a universal hero and you want to make sure you get some regen in the lane. After that, they go Treads, which I'm kind of a fan of Treads. The only reason why I don't love Treads on universal heroes that much, even though it might be like, wow, it gives stats and you're universal, but it only gives one stat at a time. I don't know if people realize this, but Treads are worse on universal heroes now than they were when the heroes were like a normal hero. So for damage, I think people don't get that. Then you buy a magic wand, right? Just stat up, stats. And then from there you go Echo Saber because it gives a lot of stats. And then you buy Harpoon, which is built from Diadem or whatever that item's called, because that gives a ton of stats as well. And when you complete the Harpoon, it gives you even more stats. And so you have a ton of stats. And then from there, there's actually so many different items you can buy, which is what's absolutely incredible. The Harpoon's going to allow you to gap close and right click people to death with your stats that benefit you, the fact that you're a universal hero. Then you can go Manta style if you want some attack speed. It helps you split push a little bit. I do believe the illusions get the shapeshift, which is pretty damn cool. And in general, your hero kind of need some attack speed. Or you can go Orchid. I actually see a game here on Pro Tracker, which makes a lot of sense. There's a few players who picked up an Orchid mid-level, and that makes a lot of sense. And even though this item gives intelligence, it gives you damage because you're a universal hero. And it's also just a really hard right-click item. It allows you to finish off targets that typically would kite Lycan, like Puck, Quap, Ember Spirit, and Void Spirit. And then of course there's honestly just a standard build, which I've personally been playing, and it feels wonderful. I've won every single Lycan game I've played. Unless I'm lying, I'm pretty sure I've won every single game I played. I can't remember a loss. And I'm just going Helm of the Dominator, typically into drums, after that, BKB, and then Nullifier. Sometimes I'll pick up Assault Cuirass as well, depending if I think the minus armor and the armor for me and my teammates is good. Really just all depends on the matchups in the game. If I want to play fast, I buy drums. If I want to slow it down a bit and scale and split push, I buy Assault Cuirass. Or, if I need the armor, typically it's a bit of both. If they have a lot of nukes and, it's hard for me to get into the fight, I'll go BKB, and then I almost always go Nullifier. And the reason why, and a lot of even the carry Lycans go Nullifier, because people are playing this as carry. It's actually being played equally as carry as it is as offlane. So if you're a carry player or an offlaner, you can try it in either of the roles. The reason why Nullifier is so good is like Ghost Scepter is such a hard counter hero, so it just kind of alleviates that item completely. And then it makes you hit hard and gives you some armor, which is nice. All right, moving on to the next hero. We got Tree Furion. So if you don't know why Tree Furion is good or what even I'm talking about Nature's Prophet. In the most recent patch, they reduced the mana cost of your Nature's Call, and the cooldown on your Nature's Call was reduced from 37 to 31 seconds at max level. It scales down. It goes 37, 35, 33, 31 now. So it's all the way down 6 seconds less. Now, here's what's crazy about this, okay? It's 6 seconds less, and at level 10, which is, it's really wild, is 8 seconds Nature's Call cooldown. So your Nature's Call can go all the way down to a 23-second cooldown. Then at level 15, you get Treant Summon +5, doubling the amount of Treants you make. This is honestly where it gets pretty crazy, because then as well, you get Curse of the Old Growth, which on an 18-second cooldown does damage based on how many trees are next to your opponent. It does 20 damage per tree. If you Sprout someone and summon Treants with your level 15 talent, and then use Curse of the Old Growth, you nuke someone at 200 damage per second, and you slow them by 70%. I'm not kidding. That is just how it works, and it works for 7 seconds. You can see why this is pretty strong just from a nuking perspective. Now, to be fair, you could kind of do this in the past. However, it was not that great to take the Nature's Call cooldown because it didn't really come close to matching up with Curse of the Old Growth, and so there wasn't that much synergy. But now that it comes all the way down to 23 seconds and the cooldown of Curse is 18, you can often use them together with a little bit of patience. And so you can see the synergy without any real items. This only costs 1400 gold and you just need some XP. You can solo kill supports. You can then also buy drums to make the tree and split push faster. You can go Assault Cuirass and completely go Rat build, or you can go a pretty standard Gleipnir build just to make sure that the shard gets even more value, something like an Ags, Gleipnir, right, the old build that people went, rooting up the enemy team, providing a ton of utility. By the way, your shard gives vision of people that you don't even see in a massive radius. That's just how the ability works. When you click it, it completely shows you everyone around you. It's great. So yeah, the hero has great split push potential with these two talents. The ulti still clears waves like crazy. You can become a very heavy utility hero with the shard and the axe, and you can scale well. So do I think Prophet's a great hero? The trans are so bad at level 1, and the teleport is kind of a weird ability now, but they even buffed the ult in 7.33c so significantly from level 1. I don't know, I see a lot of potential in this hero, even though I kind of hate it at the same time. I love it, I don't know. Very weird relationship with me and Prophet right now, definitely very odd. Alright, getting into the next hero is Darkseer. Not going to spend any time on Darkseer as he didn't get changed, but I do want to quickly say if you're looking for a hero that is going to be very dominant in pubs, if you go the right items, Darkseer is the way to go. Hero is almost good in every game. I don't think it has that many bad matchups, to be honest, which I used to feel like wasn't the case, but I don't know, it's a universal hero now. Can go wand 3 branches, hits really hard with those items, right? Really easy to last hit, has a high mana pool with those items as well, so it feels fantastic. And then from there, honestly, it's just about buying auras. I think out of all the heroes that can buy auras, I think Darkseer is the best in the game right now, as the hero's abilities are completely dominant even without auras, right? They don't need any help from items to be useful, right? And a lot of heroes need items to make their abilities useful. Aura buyers in Dota tend to have abilities that are just good alone. Does that make sense? And I think Darkseer is the best out of all of them because he farms like a madman, so he can get the slightly more expensive aura items now. he still can buy Vanguard and feel pretty happy about it even after the nerfs. It wasn't a complete kill to the item by any means. And then honestly, the scaling is wonderful on this hero. Being able to buy Ags is just great. The normal punch feels wonderful. It's a heavy stun on a low cooldown and it makes a very strong illusion. And I don't know, the way it's just good wave clear. It buys auras, it farms fast. It's like such incredible utility on this hero. So personally, I've been winning all of my games on it. I think it's good. I think it's the best aura hero. So yeah, it's kind of overtaken Underlord in my book for the best aura hero. And finally is a mid lane hero, and that's Timbersaw mid. Timbersaw was definitely a hero I thought was going to get nerfed in the upcoming patch, but it didn't. And I think that's because of the fact that it's picked up popularity only over the last few weeks from my knowledge. And what is so good about Timber mid? Well, what's good about Timber mid is, first of all, it's been good. Like, for a long time, I'm pretty sure Timber mid is almost better than offlane Timber, and I think that's kind of been the case for a minute now, as the hero is very, very level dependent. That's a mid thing. It roams well. That's good for mid. It clears the mid wave fast. Very good for mid. I'm not going to get into why, but that's very good for mid. It can take the mid tower if it needs to. It scales well. Like, it's just a good mid. Like, it's just a good mid. I don't know what to say. It fills all the characteristics of a good mid. It has a range creep secure if you need to. Obviously, the range isn't great, so sometimes that can be the problem in some matchups, but I've seen it beat Quaps, Storm. It dumpsters Pango. It does well against Void Spirit. It does well against Ember. Like, this hero has so many good matchups. The only hero I feel like it doesn't do well against is like Shadowfiend, you know, which whatever. That's freaking Shadowfiend. Who likes Shadowfiend? I don't like Shadowfiend. But all right, Timbersaw mid. Why is it good? As I said, it roams well. You buy a bottle, then after that you go mana boots, then you go Vanguard of some games. After Vanguard, you can go Soul Ring, and then you have plenty of mana there just from those 3 items. You have like 1500 HP, and then you're gonna go 4-4-2 as your skill build. You take your Q at level 1 to secure creeps, as it's way better than Chain. Typically, if the matchup's good, you don't even put any point in Chain until level 5. You just leave it alone. You go 202, and the reason why is you just harass out most melee heroes with your Whirling Death really easily. Like, it's super easy to chip them down, as the ability is 80 mana flat, so the bottle completely gives you enough mana to spam it as much as you really want. You're also a universal hero, so just by buying 4 branches, you have like 54 damage or 56. It's like crazy. You spend 200 gold building damage items and you hit pretty hard. So yeah, it's just, you're a universal hero, you hit hard, you buy your Ags. If you don't know what the Ags is, and the Shard, man, oh, I love Timber Shard so much. That many people don't buy it. I mean, I've started to see some people buy it, which like I'm happy about because I really think it's broken. But yeah, essentially I think that the Aghanim Scepter build on Timber is just wonderful. Unless they have a Dispel, because yes, you can just straight up Dispel the Timber Ags. If you don't know what it is, on reactive armor, you can activate it when you have Ags. It gives you this like really stupid shield where no one can kill you for like 8 seconds, and then when it ends, if they didn't really break the shield, it does damage, and it does up to like 800 damage. Like, you click this thing, and if they can't kill you and they run away because they realize they can't kill you, they just take an 800 damage nuke to the face on top of your other 4 nukes, assuming you have your shard. It's like nuke, 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 nuke. You can't kill me, and I nuke you, and then I nuke you, and then I have a Kaya Sanj, and that gives me spell amp, and then my level 15 talent gives me spell amp, and then I get a tier 2 neutral item on my Vambrace, and that gives me spell amp, and all of a sudden, I have like 25% spell amp and like 80 nukes on a 3-second cooldown. And that's Timbersaw mid. He doesn't die, he lanes well, he roams well, he picks up runes well, he jungles well, he can take the ancient stacks really well. Like, literally what pro teams do is they stack the triangle for him, and then all of a sudden, you're like level 10 when the enemy mid is level 8, because you probably won mid if it's a Pango or an Ember or a Void Spirit, and then you go take the stacks, and it's like, what the hell? My hero's level 10 at mid and 9. And I'm not kidding, actually. Well, maybe 10 at 9 isn't realistic, but like 10 at 10, trust me, you can do that. Like, you really can. It's crazy how much XP Ancients give. Like, really crazy. But right, thank you guys so much for watching. Hopefully you enjoyed. Hopefully I inspire you to pick one of these heroes. I'm definitely going to be playing literally all 5 of them. Thank you guys so much for watching. Sorry to support players that there weren't any supports here. I don't really feel like any of them were significantly buffed. If I missed it and you're a support player, please say in the comment section down below what support hero you're looking into in this upcoming patch. Could be Lion. Honestly, Lion got some cool buffs. But all right, I'll see you guys in the next one. Peace!
And that's all, but remember, before you leave, come on, before you tune out, subscribe to the Game Leap website, where we are going to help you get to the next rank. If you're stuck, click the link down below, and I'm out. Peace!